Hi everybody. So I had my last dose of 5-FU, which is a chemo. Then it's administered in here. Um, well, you might notice that it looks a little strange on the end. Well, that's because I was out fixing a fence that a cow was trying to get through, and one of the goats that was on the other side of the fence saw that my little tube was hanging out and chewed the tube, the chemo bag. The chemo tube. So I was supposed to have this thing, depositing its medication to me for 2 days. Well, it only lasted a day before the goat got it. So yeah, I thought that was kind of funny. So some of you maybe never seen this, but so this little lemon shaped thing. It's not huge, but what they do is they insert the end, so you can't see the end is in a sharps container, but there's this long tube that goes from that to my port that's in my chest, and so over 2 days it slowly gives you the medication, and then at the end of 2 days you're supposed to flush it with some saline, and then put a heparin lock in it so that the blood doesn't clot in there and clog it up. So I had to do that all a day early, but it was that I was not expecting to have a goat chew through the tube. It tasted pretty nasty, I imagine. The goat is fine, by the way. Probably got one little taste of like, bleh. But I thought that was funny, and I don't think many of you probably have never seen these little chemo. It's like a little automatic chemo pump. So when I'm supposed to bring it back in 2 weeks, but yeah. So I thought that would be funny. One of the little goats, they like chewing on clothes and stuff like that, and I didn't think anything of it because, usually they don't cause any damage. But when I looked down and felt my leg was cold and wet, I'm like, oh God, my chemo thing is leaking all over my leg. But luckily, most of the medication was already used up, more than half. And so the doctor said I didn't have to go back in and get it refilled. So that was good. This chemo is very similar to the xeloda, but this is just, the xeloda has the same end product as what this is, the 5-FU. For some reason, this form of the chemo was way easier for my body to handle than the pill form of the same kind of chemo. So I guess the intestines really hated it, but the veins don't seem to mind because it doesn't really cause me the same side effects that the oral chemo did. So this is a IV chemo, so it goes into port in my chest, and through a needle through the skin into the little port, and maybe someday I'll show you what that looks like. But anyway, so luckily enough I was able to disconnect it. I might have to run all the way up to South Sac and spend a half an hour or 45 minutes driving there and wait for half an hour and another 40 minutes driving home. I was able to disconnect it at home, which was really nice. But so that's IV, and of course oral chemo is just pills, so the IV was way better. So if you ever have to do a choice between IV and oral chemo of the same kind, listen to your gut. My gut is very sensitive to medications. So whenever I do oral stuff, it seems like it causes problems. IV stuff can do that too, don't get me wrong. But the IV version of this particular medication, the 5-FU, I think it's called pleural. Let me see if I can find it on here without showing all the pertinent information. Can't see it on there without sticking my hand back in the bag. But anyway, so by next week, was that next week? Well, a week and a half from now, I guess. I take it back in, they recycle it and dispose of it properly. But I thought you'd get a kick out of that. The goat chewed through my chemo line. No harm done, everybody's good, but it just like, what the heck? When I told the nurses, when I called them that day, they kind of giggled because they're like, what? It's like the dog ate my homework. But anyway, so the oral form, the IV form of my chemo has been treating me fairly well. Not the hand and foot syndrome, which can be caused by this medication, is very mild for me, very, very mild compared to the oral version. Oral version ruined my hands and feet and my intestines. And then the Tukysa, it's been, it's an oral, it's a pill, it's a targeted therapy, and it's been treating me okay. I still have, you know, some intestinal issues, but they're manageable. They're not sending me to the hospital. I'm just a little bit dehydrated. My weight's been stable. My pleural effusions have seemed to have stabilized, so I haven't had a bunch of water in my lungs, so that's awesome. So overall, I think this new chemo is treating me all right compared to the last chemo. But I'll keep you guys informed. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask. Thanks, guys.